So there I was, sifting through binge-worthy candidates, and I settled upon the series Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This has some spoilers, so if you haven't seen it and you want to see it, I would suggest that you watch this video anyway. So in this series, starring Anthony Mackie and some other dude.
And you the dude? You the dude.
Captain America is dead. And now they're going through this long game of hot potato with Captain America's old shield. Like, who's the new Captain America? I don't want to be Captain America. You are the new Captain America. On and on and on and on and on. So spoiler alert. The black dude becomes Captain America.
What?
Now I was expecting this, so that wasn't a surprise. But what I do find surprising is the level of role reprisals taking place in Hollywood where a traditionally white character suddenly becomes black. Seems like this is becoming more commonplace, doesn't it? And while the gesture for inclusivity as far as being racially represented in the Hollywood narrative is commendable, I'm not completely sold on the idea as of yet. Is there a shortage on creativity that would lend to the introduction of new characters in Hollywood, particularly black ones?
They will never let a black man be Captain America.
Captain Sable!
Or perhaps the groundwork and resources that it takes to build a new character is risky, so rather than gamble in the unknown completely, let's go with what we know works. Captain America works. It worked for this American. Let's see if it will work for that American. They're both American. Let's see if America likes hot cocoa. Then if it works, put more money behind it. If it doesn't, we'll change the narrative. But don't get it twisted. None of this is for your gratification at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it is to make a profit. It is to tap into a market. And as it were, so-called black society is widely considered a market. But why those characters? I mean, Superman would make more sense if you really wanted to consider a character that was screaming for a racial role reprisal. The guy's name is Kal-El, for goodness sakes. I mean, talk about the Hebrews and the Moors. And his pop's name is Jor-El. If that's not a pretty boy name that comes strictly from the traditions exercised by black mothers making creative attempts to name their babies whatever they think sounds French, then I must be from another dimension. So, if it's about familiarity, how about this? I've come up with a few ideas for Hollywood as far as new superheroes that Hollywood should consider, inspired by faces that may not yet be familiar to Hollywood, but certainly in certain circles of black society and social media, they are quite familiar.
This is my list of potential black superheroes.
First familiar face on our superhero list, Boyce Watkins. Superhero name, Boyce Talkins. This superhero would have a superpower where he would knock his opponents unconscious by starting a conversation with them and then taking a long time to get to the point, inflicting malignant boredom upon all those who dare wait for him to finally address the subject matter for which the video was actually named.
Boys, I'd like to ask my brother today, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing.
It's not relevant. I mentioned that you were coming onto the platform. You're not intelligent, in my view.
I can't even say they even disagree, but
You think you know everything.
I'm not talking about education, income, and all that. I'm talking about your willingness to get us out of the mess that we are in as life.
Not like that has any similarities to the real Boyce. Next up on the superhero list of familiar black faces, Vicky Dillard as Voracious Vivacious. This superhero, depicted by none other than the fly Nubian queen herself, would wield a weapon similar to that of Thor, and if ever she needed to defend herself, she would unleash the wrath of her superpower, whereby she would
Die today! Die today! Die!
So look, get creative. Sometimes you have to be the one to create the change that you want to see. Maybe there can be a character with the super ability that with one sniff they could tell who's on code and who's not. Call him Darth Art Detector. But with all these reprisals, what I'm more concerned about is that they'll go so far as to put a black face to a historically white criminal or villain. Now, Charles Manson is being played by Charles Barkley, and in 200 years, they'll be asking what it must have been like for Martin Luther King to grow up in Mexico. But look, if remixing traditionally white characters into black renditions is their way of showcasing equality in Hollywood, given that white Hollywood has shown a hankering for the racial remix in their favor, Touche, Hollywood. Touche.
Trying something different. Maybe you should do the same.